you've probably outgrown who you were, and your expired self is the blockage. There's a moment, and if you're watching this, you may already know exactly what I'm talking about, where the person you've been no longer fits. The coping strategies that carried you through your 20s feel hollow now. The drive, the perfectionism, the people pleasing, the control. It used to work. It kept you safe. It got you there. But it will not, it cannot take you where you need to go next. What you're feeling might not be like a breakdown or a depression. Maybe it's a calling, and this is what I find often. So today I want to talk you through one of the most single important frameworks that I've spent 25 years developing, tested with thousands of people from all over the world, to take you from the prison of your expired personality all the way back home to your sacred self. So there's a 10-step paradigm process, a simple one that's been tried and tested, and it will change your life. So I'm Mark Lockwood, a life strategist with an honors degree in psychology, an author, 25 years of experience helping people in inpatient treatment settings, and the founder of the Center for Healing and Life Transformation in South Africa, which is a private sanctuary on the coast, the beautiful coast, where we've been doing this deep radical work for many, many years. If you're new here, what we do is bridge the gap between psychology, life coaching, modern neuroscience, and spiritual mastery. Not therapy as a band-aid, like it's often used today. Not spiritual bypassing either. Real, scientific, and measurable neurobiological transformation. People who do this work on themselves tend to experience an 18 to 68% decrease in stress, depends on how they do the work, in as little as 6 to 8 weeks. And we've got that 15 years of clinical research to back it up. So the framework at the heart of everything we do, the one that's produced those results, is what I call the paradigm process. I'm going to give you the full architecture of all 10 pathways because you deserve to understand why you feel stuck. And more importantly, you deserve a map out. So let's begin at the beginning with part 1, the prison of personality. So here's the truth that most counselors and coaches and therapists will never really tell you. Your personality is not you. Your personality is a survival program, a brilliant, adaptive, incredibly creative set of strategies your nervous system developed, mostly in childhood, to keep you safe in an unsafe world. You learn to control things because the world felt out of control. You learn to perform and achieve because love felt conditional. You learn to avoid pain because pain once felt unbearable. And you learned to please others because your own needs felt dangerous to express. These strategies were not weaknesses, they were genius. Your psyche did exactly what it was designed to do. It protected you. But here's the problem. Modern neuroscience confirms what the ancient contemplative traditions have taught for thousands of years. When we operate from these survival programs long enough, long past their usefulness, we become trapped in the most primitive part of our brain, the limbic system, what we sometimes call the lizard brain. And when you're running a survival program in an adult body, cortisol spikes chronically. The hippocampus, your emotional regulation center, begins to shrink. The prefrontal cortex, that's your center of wisdom, creativity, and high thinking, goes quiet. The result: depression, anxiety, addictions, burnout, personality disorders. The feeling that no matter how much you achieve or acquire, something's always missing. I've sat with thousands of people: CEOs, artists, doctors, healers, parents, all of them brilliant, all of them suffering in this exact same way, trapped not by their circumstances, but by the prison of their own personality they don't even know is as close as the mask they wear on their face. Persona, of course, means mask. So here's the key insight I want you to get right now. Your personality creates your personal reality. What fires together wires together. So to change your life from the inside out, not to manage it, not to cope with it, but to transform it, that means to go above it, you must first understand what programs are running and then systematically, consciously upgrade them. So there's just 10 personality disorders, 10 programs. And that dismantling is exactly what the paradigm process does. So through our research, through looking at the psychiatric associations work, through looking at the spiritual traditions, psychology, how coaches succeed, through all of it, we identified 10 core personality characters. I call them your 10 ego insurgents. And these develop as defense mechanisms in the first half of life. They're not demons, they're not bad, they're not enemies. But they are, if left unchecked, absolute blockers to your healing, your freedom, and your highest potential. So awareness is first. See which ones you recognize in yourself. So these 10 ego insurgents are pretty easy to understand. Number one is the controller. Controller means an illusion of safety through rigid over-controlling. On the outside, it looks like competence. But on the inside, it is chronic anxiety, exhaustion, and an inability to trust life. And so we carry on with the judge, which is our inner critic, relentlessly evaluating self and others. Its primary engine ends up as depression and shame. Another mask is the victim, learned helplessness. It's a strong one in all of us. A deep belief that life happens to you rather than through you. It blocks personal power and keeps you dependent and small. So we go through these, which is just a short introduction now on the perfectionist, the people pleaser, the avoider, and so on. So I want you to just become aware that these 10 masks are masks that everybody wears. We're all codependent. We're all people please at some point, and at some point we all become victims. But thoughts become things. Thoughts becomes feelings. They become actions, behaviors. Those behaviors become traits. Those traits become a personality. So these things are built, they don't just show up. Absolutely nothing in God's world arrives here by accident. So those are the 10 masks that we wear, and you, of course, can read much more about them below. So beneath every one of those ego insurgents, as we call them, under the controller, the judge, the avoider, all of it, there lives something that has never been damaged, something that was never broken to begin with. Now we call that your sacred self. The sacred self is not a concept. It's an authentic self. It's not a spiritual idea reserved for mystics. It is a neurological reality. It is the part of you that emerges when the survival programs quieten, accessible to every single person alive, regardless of their history, their faith, their diagnosis, regardless of how long they've had depression and anxiety. This part of you, this sacred self, as we call it, or higher self, is where your true values live, unchanged. Your genuine desires, your uncorrupted intuition, your capacity for love, real love, not transactional love, as you were taught as a child. The foundational principle of this paradigm process is this: you do not build the sacred self, you uncover it. So it's internal work. You don't go out, you go within. It's always been there, that part of you, waiting beneath these masks that you had to build, these defense mechanisms that kept you safe. And the pathway there is not more willpower, more self-flagellation, more discipline, or yet another goal-setting exercise of some kind. The pathway is through something far more radical. Not a mindset, not a reframe. A complete paradigm shift is where the very lens through which you are seeing yourself and the world fundamentally changes. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So each of these 10 pathways works by doing two things simultaneously: dismantling an ego insurgent and at the same time activating its sacred counterpart. So it doubles the results, doubles the work that we do, and 10x your success rates. We don't just remove what no longer serves, we replace it with the highest version of ourselves at the very same time. Energy does not allow for a vacuum. So let's walk through a couple of these. Pathway 1 is moving from control to self-love. And it's a kind of surrendering into self-love. The controller believes if it just manages everything tightly enough, something bad can be prevented. But the truth is, the more tightly we grip life, the more life slips through our fingers. So we've got to go through, of course, a surrendering process, which is not weakness or passivity. It is the radical art of trusting a deeper intelligence at work. When we release the need to control, we paradoxically gain more peace, more flow, and more actual effectiveness in our lives. We start to love ourselves more. And from this self-love spawns everything else we need. But we have to start with self-love, because you cannot give away what you don't have. You cannot give away anything good if at least you don't start loving yourself again. In pathway 2, we let go of the perfectionist and we recover a sense of gratitude. You see, this is scientific, things we would never have thought about working on. The perfectionist mask is built through non-acceptance, through forcing things to be a certain way. And if you don't get those outcomes, you procrastinate. And the end feeling that we get as a result is shame. So perfectionists want things to be a certain way when they're not. So recovering the sense of gratitude, who would have thought, is the way back, because gratitude helps us to accept things exactly the way they are. Incredible. This is the science of finding your spiritual self. For pathway 3, we let go of the neurotic, always looking for trouble around the next corner, and we recover a sense of surrender. In pathway 4, that codependent that we all have to develop at around 2 years old to survive is dropped. We drop that codependency and recover a sense of connection, deep connection to other people. And that connection means that we're no longer defending. We're no longer separating ourselves from other people. And this is how strong relationships are built in the place of unhealthy codependence. In pathway 5, we let go of the eccentric, that off-center oddball that we try and be, and recover a sense of certainty in its place, of confidence, and in pathway 6, we let go of the victim. Huge, huge for everybody. We all play possum, we all play victim, and we recover a sense of resilience in its place. In pathway 7, we let go of the actor, never being our genuine selves, and playing games and roles, and it's exhausting being the actor, and we recover a sense of presence in its place. Pathway 8, we let go of the people pleaser that makes us shameful once again, and recover a sense of self-regulation, of not having to go off and wear one of these masks. Self-regulation is the future of medicine and mental health. Pathway 9, a big one, the judge. That judge is keeping gratitude away completely, and it just automatically judges everything as good or bad, black and white, right or wrong. And you won't believe what the judge does to make our worlds super small. So in its place, we recover a sense of wisdom, wise mind. Yeah, I judge first, it's never going to go away. But then I look for the space in between, the gray areas, and I build up wisdom and discernment to get beyond the judge. And finally, in pathway 10, we let go of the anxious insurgent. That anxious insurgent is there trying to save our lives, trying to keep us safe from crouching tigers and hidden dragons. No, that anxiousness is no longer serving us. In its place, we recover a sense of courage. So, as we started in the beginning with pathway love, a sense of self-love is recovered. A sense of courage, meaning heart, replaces that anxious persona that keeps us small and disordered, depressed, sick, coping. You really can rewire your reality. So every time we practice one of these pathways, you must think about neuroplasticity. Every time we move from control to surrender, from judgment to compassion, from avoidance to absolute presence, we are literally doing what neuroscientists call neuroplasticity work. We are building new neural pathways. So we've got something called a default mode network. And we fall back onto those 10 masks whenever we're not mindful, whenever we're not present in a way. We move back onto our DMN, our default mode network. So we practice presence and mindfulness and really waking up as we've been taught since the beginning of time. The limbic survival system begins to quiet when we do this work. Activity migrates to the prefrontal cortex. That's the front of your brain where, it's the seat of wisdom, your CEO, where empathy, long-term thinking, and genuine compassion reside, the EQ. When we do this, in turn, cortisol drops, serotonin and dopamine regulation start to normalize. This is seen on scans. This is, the work done since 2018 on this is, 50,000 papers, 500,000 case studies. It's huge. The evidence is there. So that hippocampus, damaged by years of chronic stress, begins to regenerate when we drop the defenses. Defenses are the first act of war on ourselves. So when we drop those defenses, we start to heal. Yale, Harvard, Stanford, the University of Wisconsin. The research from the world's leading institutions confirms it all. This contemplative practice meditation, stillness, this waking up to understanding through awareness that you have these masks and defense mechanisms in place is proven to be a roadmap to healing and life transformation. Not metaphorically at all, physically, measurably, biologically. In our own clinical work since 2012, we've seen measurable increases in happiness, not fleeting moments of sort of bits of joy here or there, or a smile here or there. No, real, genuine joy and happiness scores of 68% on average. 68% increase show significant results begin in just 6 to 8 weeks. Now, most people tell us, well, I've been depressed and anxious for 10 years, 20 years. I've been burning out for 5 years. So you can change it all around, working all 10 masks, all 10 defense mechanisms, all 10 personality disorders. You can work. You see, we all have a little bit of each of them. You'll be stronger in certain areas and have less in others, but they're all there in the subconscious mind, which is 95% of the mind. So we've got to get beyond that calculating, analytical, defensive mind that has caused a mental health crisis today, that has kept us in fight, flight, freeze, flop, fawn, fiddle, faint, friend. It's not working. The pace of the world, the cortisol, the combination of it all is not working. So we have to shift from survive to thrive. And it's a real thing. This is not magic. It's science aligned with ancient wisdom. And the combination of it all is extraordinarily powerful. So I want to leave you with this. You did not arrive at this moment by accident. The fact that you've watched this far tells me something important about you. There is a part of you that knows a deeper life is available, doesn't it? Just get still for a minute. There's a desire in you, a part of you that refuses to accept that survival is all there is. That part of you is right. You've outgrown the personality that got you here to this point, and we thank it for its service. But now we dismiss that loyal agent. It's not something to grieve, it's something to celebrate, because the only reason a chrysalis feels like suffocation is that the butterfly is almost ready. Metamorphosis, meta, above thinking. Can you see? So those answers are everywhere. And the metamorphosis is waiting for you. The 10 pathways are waiting for you. Not to make you someone else, not to fix what is broken, but to return to you all the way, fully and finally, to who you've always been, which is your authentic, sacred self. If you want to go deeper with this work, the links are below. They'll take you to the book, the course, the programs, the inpatient sanctuary that we have. Whether you work with us in person or online or wherever, doesn't matter. If this video speaks to you, share it. Share it with someone who needs it. And leave a comment below. Namaste.